Welcome to Bratislava, here for my day trip to celebrate 30 years and calling for new transport policy in Austria, Slovakia, Hungary. We have to change some things. I have made the case for a European-wide Klima ticket, public transport with one price for all, with a Euro Plus version of the Austrian Klima ticket. That will be my campaign, and that's something I congratulate our Austrian Transport and Infrastructure and Energy Minister, Mrs. Gewessler. That's a lifetime achievement, and it's fantastic, and she can improve that. But I think it's time for her to move on to a new position, new career, because she is a Stone Age minister who hates infrastructure. She has blocked the motorway ring east of Vienna, the so-called Tunnel. That's terrible, a European priority east of Vienna, which absolutely is needed. And she has blocked the third landing for the piste for the Vienna airport, and that's important. And she's doing nothing for European infrastructure interconnectivity towards Bratislava, Hungary. We need high-speed trains, we need common EU debt, Eurobonds to fund it, and we need a huge drive towards connecting Mariupol to Munich and to build all the infrastructure towards Eastern Europe, to the new Eastern Europe, to the new candidate countries, to the Balkans, to Kosovo, to Albania, to Zagreb, and towards Mariupol and Kiev. And that's cost something, and that must be done by the EU, the debts and the responsibility. We need common European infrastructure companies owned by the EIB. We need to sell and pool them basically on the European level, the ÖBB and all the infrastructure companies, and she has done nothing of that. She's blocking whatever she can block in terms of new infrastructure. She is a Stone Age minister, and that must end, because we need this Eastern European infrastructure. It is also the big problem of Mr. Linder that he doesn't want to pay for it, and Mrs. Gewessler, because Austria, of course, is a decisive link, and Slovakia and Hungary. Everybody is a link. Poland is a link. And as you have seen, I say this now since 7 years. I'm working in the Ukraine issue since 2016 or whatever, 6 years. And I say we need better infrastructure east to connect Ukraine. It was logically, it's still needed today. It must be via Hungary, via Romania, via Slovakia, via Poland, via the Baltics. Yeah. We must have energy, digital, water infrastructure. We must integrate Ukraine fully, and that can only be via Central Europe. And Central Europe is not connected well enough. We need the bridges on the Danube, the waterway ring. We need, of course, the digital infrastructure. We need the infrastructure to transport the army east. And we need all that to build together, because the small fragmented countries of Eastern Europe, which have emerged from the Austrian and the Turkish and the Russian and the German Empire in the last 200 years, cannot fund that alone. I know shit Sherlock, Mr. Lindner. So the problem is German egocentrism of the FDP, anti-Europeanism and pro-Russian appeasement of the SPD. But it's also all this kind of frugal ideas of the Dutch and of the Danish and of the Austrians under the Kurz times, Sebastian, the Russian asset. And all these people are together, then the Greens, who don't want to build because they want to protect the land, as if we wouldn't be there to be serving the people and not the Gaia planet. Such an idiocy of all these failed politicians. But Mrs. Gewessler, she has done something good, but she is doing a lot of harm by blocking the usage of land for efficient transport infrastructure. And of course we need good Central European airports. Of course the people want to move. Of course the goods need to be transported. Of course you need fast trains. Of course you need efficient trains towards the Balkans, towards Turkey, towards Ukraine. And of course you need the energy infrastructure to make sure that whatever the origin is, and I'm also now for nuclear energy. The nuclear energy of Ukraine must be available to Central Europe as the grain as well, and we must also supply the weapons, and the people must move efficiently. The good must move efficiently. That's the idea of Europe, Mrs. Gewessler. If you want to bomb us back into the Stone Age, that's not bomb, but if you want to keep us in the post-Yugoslavian and post-Soviet Union, Warsaw Pact reality, of this kind of infrastructure because you're too greedy, Mr. Lindner, or you don't have the vision, Mrs. Gewessler. It's absolutely wrong. This must be Europeanized, the funding, the planning, the implementation, the ownership of the infrastructure companies themselves must be Europeanized, and we must build it until the Eastern Front, until Mariupol once it's liberated, and to now to the Dnipro, to Kherson, to Kharkiv. Yeah? And this is all European territory and European land and European responsibility. The reconstruction of Ukraine must be funded by the EU, but it can only be effectively if Ukraine is in the customs union, has the euro as currency, and we pay and also coordinate the infrastructure integration of Ukraine. And then the Eastern European countries, the new ones from 2004, must be in the euro as well, and also the infrastructure must be built along European priorities and corridors until Mariupol, Kiev, Kharkiv and Kherson and Odessa, and in between the links to this territory and this land, this European future EU NATO member, Euro member Ukraine is going via Romania, Hungary, Slovakia and Poland, and they must build, and some of them have done it enormously. The Polish, they are really very good, the Slovaks less. The smaller countries have of course an issue with these huge costs of infrastructure. They cannot build it, the poorer countries like Romania as well. Here the EU has to pay for it, not only to fund it, not only to loan it, but also to contribute, like they do it for the Brenner Basis tunnel through the Alps and some other many infrastructure projects on air, waterways and ports. And no, give it not to the Chinese, Belgrade, Budapest or Piraeus or Hamburg, but let's do it via the European Investment Bank owning these infrastructure assets. And we can do it because we have the money if we are ready for common debts and common responsibility, Mr. Lindner. So I'm totally disappointed by Gewessler and Lindner, the Greens and the Conservatives, but unfortunately the Socialists and the Nationalists are no alternatives. So please, it would be kind if you simply prepare better politicians and do more European thinking in Austria and Germany in order to help Eastern European integration. And no, it's not the Third Reich, Mr. Kaczynski, it's Europe and it's the West, and it's responsibility of a state union to do that together, and this is what we shall do. Thanks a lot and support Bratislava. Come here to celebrate Slovak freedom, and we need to be more united. See yourself, it's wonderful. And it's also good to reach, but it should be 20 minutes, not 1 hour 20 to Vienna. Thanks a lot. No more Stone Age, Mrs. Gewessler. It's the 21st century. Welcome to that. Bye.